on, everyone? Hope you're well and doing great. Markets here at major inflection points and could be, if they kick off and break them, set up for some strong follow through. Let's take a look at all the charts and make sure that we have awareness about us. I got some updates today to share with you. Yesterday, I was talking about crafting these low cap, right? Anything in the stock market below 2 billion, looking at what had performed best between 2023 and 2026, and then seeing if we could come up with a universal setting so that we could have a portion of our portfolio with a scanner focused in on those. And then after, if a success. Now, like halfway there, major work here. We're grinding, working hard here. At the same time, by the way, and I'll get into the update on the trailing stop loss fix, but some like major work done. Here's Carvana, and beautiful modeled. The only one that I couldn't work out was over here on INOD. Let me pull up the watch list over here. And this just wasn't a success. But guess what? It still needs to be inputted into finding that universal solution. Rocket Labs, I mean, very, all of these, I don't know, maybe not INOD, with the exception of INOD, all of them definitely here crafted very well. Looking over at ASTS, significantly outperforming. It's a bit of a drawdown over there. I'll have to go recheck that one, make sure that's correct. And then root over here. So halfway there. So I'm figuring if I could continue to grind out by tomorrow, have the following pairs over here: IONQ, SMR, HIMS, SOUN. It's a big task. If I get those done, the next step is going to be going ahead and then seeing if we could find a universal setting. We'll find out. But either which way, it's significantly helping my ability to model. And I will give one last pass over here to our V4 templates, which, by the way, I mean, what a great reminder. Let's start off with our positioning. I got a lot of information to give you. I want to get into the TA. I want to look at these charts that are breaking out. I want to make sure that all of us have the updates needed to continue on here as a group. So I'm just going to go. Nice to see the relief rally underway. You can see the NASDAQ here coiling at a pretty strong inflection point as well. Markets seem to be pricing in that the Iranians are ultimately going to have no choice but to resume their flows as their own oil wells are about to be shut off. If that's what happens, that's what the markets have been pricing in. We'll find out. Oh boy. All right. Let's just start over here. This is pretty important on our V2 positioning stocks. It was hit on so much at the beginning of the year how important it is to be making sure that you are diversified between stocks as well as Bitcoin and crypto. Here you could see the stocks here jumping into profit. Nvidia 10% into profit. Strategy, which was carried everything in 2025 like a bullet, 25% open unrealized gains. Tesla once again entering into the market. FNGU is pending long, and it seems so late to me. So that's really going to be dependent on what happens here. Is the equity markets about to hit a wall, or is this thing just getting going? The opinion, we're not into like max greed yet, but we're definitely moving towards greed. There's no question about it. But then again, sometimes, every once in a while, max fear, max greed, they tend to push. FNGU here looks like a late entry, but enter long pending. And TQQQ out of the market. It kind of made me feel good that FNGU is entering late here, as TQQQ is not also entering. And then a major breakthrough here. GBTC for the first time in a long time, getting ready to enter on the long side, along with, at the same time, Bitcoin bull runs. I mean, when the last exit, 112,000 Bitcoin bill runs, most people thought that that was I never imagined the extent of the downside that we've seen since. In retrospect, oh, how easy is everything in retrospect? We saw that M1 monetary base total was significantly declining during that period. We find that we've put a foot here as the Fed has begun balance sheet expansion, and the Fed cycle seems to be playing out, except that the one worry is this time of cycle, last time a crisis was engineered in order to go ahead and make sure that the system had the funding it needed to continue. We're not at that point yet, but if we get there, watch out. Yeah, so as far as new stock, just this is all forward tested. This is where we began our forward testing. And I mean, T triple Q here on a mega ride. This is the pure play, no filters whatsoever. And that's holding an open unrealized here of 45%. The drawdown is obviously much higher. We talked about how the position size would be reduced, but just for fun and just making sure that going forward, we have the what we want. But you could see that it's going to overtake the net profit as that trade closes. Tesla on the sidelines. GBTC also on the sidelines, does not have that pending yet, doesn't have that yet. And then this is a mega edition over here. This is FNGD short, which means FNGU long, holding now a position 16%. Guys, the future is so bright. I am so excited to be here with you, and I can't imagine what we're setting ourselves up to do. Look over here at NVIDIA, lagging our position a little bit, but still up 5%. And then MSTR here, up a monster 25% as well. The future is both of them. Cabby, I got to go back. So you can see that I got a lot of pieces moving around here. You can see I have a lot of pieces moving around here. And as soon as it's been a week since I opened that up. I don't know why that failed to open over here, but whatever. As soon as I have these released, which is going to be so soon, but you can see I got caught up in this new rabbit hole, and the rabbit hole is the low cap potential universal fittings, and I just got to go, and I got to go, and I got to go, and I know Brownie Brown, I'm sure he would say he's happy with the progress. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. And then after that's finished, I'm going to see, all right, do I want, like, these are love, but maybe what I'm learning here, I can then implement. And then if anything, maybe we just have a separate forward testing, like to go off of. But very soon we're going to get these out because we want the best of the best, and we want this over here on equities over here, and that's happening at the same time. Also, you won't see it here, but at the same time, worked on an updated table. I like that. Enter long pending here though, and once that's out, Cabby, then I'll be able to go ahead, upload all of the performance, and then we could compare. But T triple Q and MSTR are absolute beasts. So is, you won't see it here, but so is the spot ETFs. And, they just weren't in the market last year. But that was the right play. Everyone could see it now, but that was the right play. And I'm just trying to go back over here to boom, boom, boom. And that was the right play not to be in the market. So T triple Q, MSTR, I have to tell you, are two of my favorites. I mean, the percent profitable here on T triple Q is absolutely outrageous. Profit factor though, 4.1 compared to MSTR of 12.7. I mean, This is almost unbelievable. But the thing is, and this is what's really important. Did you see, by the way, Michael Saylor talked about once he owns 7.5% of the overall supply, he's going to taper down his purchases. So he's using the S curve. And he's saying that once we get from where we are now to early majority and to late majority, that he's going to go ahead and taper down his purchases. I think the projected price of a Bitcoin would be $10 million at that level. But right now, strategy is a volatile animal. And we see it in 2024 on the upside and a little bit on the upside in 2025 and definitely on the downside in late 2025. And now you're seeing it on the upside. And you never like that's what we love. But eventually, expectations are, I mean, how long until Microsoft gets 7.5% of the supply? But eventually, the characteristics will change. But more importantly, you never know what's going to happen. And what was the best performing asset last year is not normally next year. For example, NVIDIA last year was flatlined. Watch what happens this year. Likely it's going to be different. I remember I made that mistake in 2022 when Ethereum was the best performing asset, and then I went heavily allocated there. It turns out that you want to be evenly allocated and that you want to go ahead and be evenly allocated across Bitcoin and crypto and stocks. And the reason I say that is because, yeah, TQQQ, MSTR, absolute bangers, but that diversification is an edge. And the only other thing, and I have to hit on it because there's so many pieces that are being juggled right now, that I have to go back and I have to put in what I was talking about with what I believe is one additional edge we could give ourselves, and that's that position size when it comes to stocks. That's going to be around seasonalities. All right. Amen. Amen. We're going to keep going because Ace was looking for that springboard in the beginning of the year. He was calling for it. He was pushing for it. But everything in CTM happens right on time. And here we go. And I'm making sure that we get there and continue with the fire and making sure that we continue with the juice. Ethereum here is on the verge of a CTM 1.0 conservative line breakout, the orange line over here. And you can see over here, you got that structure coiled up right over here. And then you look at the double black diamond that's already has taken off. That's your best entry. How do you play this entry? And that's we're going to answer right now how you play that entry. And as we do, I just want to jump back over here to another chart and show you that I was wondering, I just to see it out of the line over here. CTM filter, ST2 filter, keeping it out of the trade over here, which is nice. We've seen V4 here struggling in the coil. Coils lead to big things over here. So we know that, first of all, 103A, and then with the bull market entering, sorry guys, with the bull market about to enter, Bitcoin bull run's about to enter into the market, go ahead and toggle that off. And then you could see over here that also, this would be in a trade. So what do you do there, Brownie Brown? What do you do? Bitcoin bull markets was out of the market. So this is obviously until it's in the market, toggled on. There's no trade at the moment. And then we can look over at our other V4 over here. And V4 is also out of the market. You can see the ST2 playing its role over here, keeping it out of the market along with CTM filter. From a discretionary standpoint, you could say, well, on that break, I want to be involved. Usually what I do over here is I wait for the break of that wick for the entry because you don't, or a close above the line. Either one of those things. Right here, we came into it this morning and currently backing off a little bit. If we break out above, that's an entry that a lot of people say, I've seen in the past that whether I believe it's going to extend or not, it's a close your eyes type moment and I want to be on the right side, which means that I want to know where to manage my risk. So how do you manage your risk off of this? And there's two ways that I could see of. The best and the tightest over here is going to be just putting a trend line like this. If you break above and then you close back below this green line over here, that's exit the trade. Wait for another re-entry if you get it, another opportunity, but make sure you cut those losers short because you're looking for an extension here if this thing breaks out and continues and likely into this area of 3,000 Ethereum. Could it come sooner than we think, or are we about to break down, test the lows again, and even make another leg down? You don't have to know. All you have to do is manage risk around it. Brownie Brown, CTM 2.0, CTM 1.0 angle would look more like this, right? However, that's a lot of space over there. I think that you get a much more attractive position size going ahead and using this to risk it off of. And then if you hit your stop loss, wait for the next opportunity to come back into the market. By the way, copper over here, just bouncing off the breakout retest, resuming up. You could see silver and gold lagging a little bit. And what that means is that I think we called the bottom on the Bitcoin. I saw a lot. I saw what's Andre Jake, right? At the bottom here, he became like a gold bug and gave up on Bitcoin. Everyone else throwing out the towel over here. We were like, I don't know, but it looks like there's a good chance that we're seeing the cross bottom and we're going to see this rollover from a gold bull market into a Bitcoin bull market. Could potentially happen. We need this next breakout over here for the first confirmation that that's actually alive. If you remember on the reverse over here, we were looking at it from a different chart. I think I have that chart somewhere over here. Well, I don't have it up before me, so I'm not going to pull it up right now. Either which way, jump back over to Bitcoin. Bitcoin has a conservative breakout now. It's in play. Beautiful to see. Where are you managing risk? How are you managing risk around that? Right? There you go. Just go ahead and connect the dots. Manage your risk. Stay on the right side. We can see from a different angle. We're coming up into this final resistance zone of that wick. If this breaks and closes, we could see some sharp follow through targeting around the $87,000 area. That would be really, really meat. We're not out of the woods until we're out of the woods, and it's never easy. This is a significant breakout above here, right? Getting above that yellow line, which is the previous cycle ceiling, this whole area, right? Remember the last time we were traded under the previous cycle ceiling? And then when we traded above it, that was 17,250. Are we about to hit the second massive leg down of this bear market? Or are we about to put in a low of what was a pretty strong, the strongest correction of the cycle, 55%? I don't know. I don't know. I do know that soon enough, we're going to have, once again, STRC on the bid. But that's not happening yet as well either. We have over here, Rika brought up to me that I love the Financial Juice newsfeed on the Discord. And there are times I pay attention to a lot. It's offline since the 15th. I have a little bit of trauma. The last time it went off, and it took a lot of troubleshooting to get it back online. Listen, I got to get it back online because it's very valuable. I really appreciate that being on my feed and the notifications that go through my phone. Except that I'm not going to let that interrupt my flow in the moment. And I'm going to keep on over here, continuing to model these low caps. After I model those low caps, and these are all done, by the way, with no filters. No filters. And that's my first pass, right? So that's important. Anyway, without getting into details, there's no need. I'm going to continue here on this pace. I'm then bringing it back here to finalize this, getting that out to the community. Once I do, I'm going to be updating all of these, and then we'll go from there. All right. Here's another view of Bitcoin that I really appreciate, and that is, all right, I really like that for managing risk over here. You can see that's, I could definitely make the case that, hey, that's nothing more than a bear flag. It's nothing more than, and any one of us could really make a scenario really quickly where the trigger executes. What would the trigger be? Well, you know, obviously the situation in Iran goes from really bad to really worse, and then we see oil spike up, trade above 120, sustain there. Bad news bears, cause of a recession. It's all easy to see what's happening, but right now we're looking at equity markets actually trading at all-time highs, and you could say, well, you know, well, that's where they are. You're either on the right side or you're on the wrong side. Love seeing our templates capture this move. That's the biggest thing. You all know that a minority of our trades make up the majority of our gains. And we all know that we're sitting there waiting for the wave and the set of waves to come in. You never know which is really going to be that next big set coming into the market and which ones are going to carry. But you want to be there to take advantage and to carry. All right. Think a leg down is coming. I don't know what's coming. Well, I mean, we are seeing what like the Fed playbook play out. Last time they began raising the balance sheet, it took several weeks for risks to stabilize. Last time this time when they began raising the balance sheet, it's taking several weeks for risks to stabilize. Equities were supposed to lead. Equities now at all-time highs. Bitcoin's turn is next. But it's dependent on a lot, and it's dependent on what happens with obviously the current situation and this energy spike that we're currently experiencing. Whether or not we're going to be able to see this stuff flow. It seems that Iran right now is in a situation where they're going to have to make a hard decision. I don't know which way that goes. No one, obviously, it looks like the US is looking for an off ramp. It looks like Israel's cooperating. We'll find out what happens. Yeah, what like hyping over the like yesterday was the brainstorm, and then all afternoon and even the follow through. I need another day of that, and yeah, if it turns out that we're able to come up with this universal settings, because you like today there are a set of low cap stocks that over the next few years are going to outperform, and you don't know what they are, and I don't know what they are, and nobody knows what they are. And there's a difference between taking flyers, and you could say, well, X amount of them end up, drawing down 90% or more. That's not what we want to do. We don't want to be in the market when out. Next step is to go ahead and first find out if you can find universal settings. You find universal settings. Next step is go ahead and find a way for a scanner for us to know when to utilize and speculate with calculated risk, right? For calculated returns. And then also Hypernova, I want to bring that into the altcoin market if possible. If it's a success, we could then replicate into the altcoin market. But yeah, it's the whole purpose is to build for CTM. Tesla earnings tonight. Is that what you're talking about over here, B South? Oh yes, the Tesla earnings tonight. And I don't know what to make of that. I hope there's word about production coming online of Optimus. But either way. All right, y'all. Have a beautiful day. If you haven't yet, on your way out, please do hit the thumbs up because it inspires me. Everyone, lots of love. God bless you. I'll see you all back here tomorrow.